All right, so for number 1, when you do f of 0, you're plugging 0 in for the x in the problem. So in the case of this problem, we're going to plug a 0, there's an x. So f of 0 is like 2/3 times 0 plus 7. So f of 0 is 7. And then going down, f of 1 would be 2/3 times 1 plus 7. So you could have written that as 7 and 2/3 or 23/3. If you wanted to write it as an improper. If you wrote it as a decimal, you needed to have 7.6 with the repeating bar. Okay, and then in the second column, we have 3/5 times -2 minus 2. So you get 3/5 times -2. And then what you want to do is take that value and subtract 2 from it. So you either get -3.2, or if you had it as a fraction, -16/5. In number 2, you have 3/5 times 4 minus 2. So that's 12/5 minus 2. So you either have 0.4 or 2/5. In number 3, plugging in -2, you have 3 times -2 plus 1. So -6 plus 1 is -5. And here it's 3 times 1 plus 1, so 4. And then for 4, you have 1/2 times 4 minus 8. So half of 4 is 2. 2 minus 8 is -6. And 1/2 times 0 minus 8 is -8. Yeah. Well, eventually we're going to get to multiple variables. No, I mean, all right, so that introduces some new vocab for today. So we have a linear relation, which is a relation when graphed that forms a straight line. You have a linear equation, which is an equation that has no operations other than addition, subtraction, and multiplication of a variable by a constant. And the key idea there is a variable. So linear equations can only have x and y raised to the first power. Are we okay? No, still copying. Alright, so we're gonna do that one tomorrow, don't worry. Let's move on to the next example. We'll do these vocab tomorrow. State whether each function is linear. Explain why or why not. So a linear function will only be linear if the power is raised to the first, if you do not have a multiplication of multiple variables, or you do not have division by a variable. So number 1A is yes, that is linear, because we have a slope and a y-intercept. Number 1B is no, because we are dividing by x. Which will make that a rational function. It is a rational function. An example C is also no, because you have x and y being multiplied together. So C is no, and that's because we have two variables being multiplied. Okay, so we already kind of talked about standard form. Standard form is ax plus by equals c. In standard form, we have two requirements. One requirement is that the a value must always be positive. The second requirement is that a, b, and c must all be integers. So what that means is that we can have no fractions as the coefficients. So our goal is to write a, b, and c in the next example in standard form, where the a value is always positive. It is always in the form ax plus by equal to c. So the order with which you write it matters. You cannot have by plus ax equals c. You cannot have ax equals by plus c. The ax plus by must be on the left in that order, equal to c on the right. That's super weird. It doesn't have my example. All right. So example A, we have 3x minus 6y minus 9 equals 0. To put that into standard form, I need to move the 9 to the other side. So I have 3x minus 6y equals 9. So here we have 2y equals 4x plus 5. Remember that we have the symmetric property of equality. So what that says is that I could treat this like 4x plus 5 equals 2y. So I can flip it. And then I can subtract the 5 and subtract the 2y. So that I have 4x minus 2y equals negative 5. The y and c value can be negative, just not the a. And then for the last example, the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that fraction. So to get rid of the fraction, I'm going to multiply all three parts by 10. And in this case, my x is negative. So I'm going to multiply by negative 10. So I can kill two birds with one stone. So I get 3x equals negative 80y plus 150. And then I'm just going to move over my 80y. And I get 3x plus 80y equals 150. Yes. Yes. Okay, your homework is in the textbook. It's what's on the front of that outline. So we're doing page 72, 16. And let me confirm that because we're going to do part of the lesson tomorrow. So it's 16 to 34. 16 to 34. Yeah, I think it says 38 on your handout. You're stopping at 34. The first couple are just telling me yes or no. So make sure for 16 to 24, you tell me why. Because on your test, I would want to know why. It says explain. So a simple yes or no will not count or suffice. I need to know why. Maybe it's squared. Maybe it has a square root.